On the ice, it happens in a fraction of a second, a slight misalignment, a blade that does not bite the way it should.
At the Dutch Olympic trials, Jutta Leerdam went down. This was not a practice run or an early season warm-up. This was the race that was supposed to punch her ticket to the Games. Cameras flashed, the crowd gasped, and before she even stood up, the internet was writing her obituary. Dutch trials are absolutely ruthless. No special treatment, no legacy picks, no mercy. You skate fast or you stay home. For most athletes, hitting the deck means the dream dies right there. But this time the script flipped completely. Forget the crash and the headlines. Jutta Leerdam is officially locked in for the 1,000 meters at the 2026 Winter Olympics. No begging, no courtroom drama, no apology tour, just her name on the roster. That is when you realize this was not a blunder, it was a power play. Everyone missed the real story because that spill did not break her. It just proved she was playing a different game entirely. Jutta Leerdam is not just another body in a speed suit on the Dutch team. She is the queen of the 1,000 meters, a world champ whose entire existence is calibrated for one specific distance. So when she wiped out, the world screamed disaster. But that only makes sense if you think emotions win medals. They do not, cold hard control does. The shock was not the fall itself. Gravity comes for everyone eventually. The real shocker was her reaction. No panic, no desperate scrambling, no public meltdown. Just a stone-cold confirmation that she would be at the starting line when the Olympic torch gets lit. That is not luck. That is an athlete who knows the rulebook better than the people watching on TV. Here is the gritty truth. Real Olympic strategy is not always a fairy tale. Sometimes it is just boring, calculated math. It is about picking your battles, and Jutta made it crystal clear that one bad step would not erase 4 years of grind. We all saw the crash, but we missed the chess move, and that is why this matters. The world saw a failure, but she saw a minor speed bump on the road to the only goal that counts. She did not throw a pity party or rewrite her story. She just doubled down on her signature event. The question isn't how she fell, it is why she looked so terrifyingly calm while doing it. To get that, you have to understand the absolute pressure cooker she has been living in for years. That weight was crushing her long before her blades ever touched the ice that afternoon. Jutta did not crack because she has been dealing with a different beast of expectations for her entire career. Way before the trials, before Milano Cortina, and before that blade ever lost its edge. In the Netherlands, winning is not a bonus. It is the bare minimum requirement. If you claim to be the best, you prove it every single time, no excuses, and Jutta has delivered that perfection for years. She did not try to be a jack of all trades or spread herself thin. She staked her claim on the 1,000 meters and made that distance her personal kingdom. World titles. World Cup golds, she did not just beat the competition, she embarrassed them. But that level of dominance is a trap. It leaves zero room for error, turning every race into a battle to survive the hype rather than just skating fast. Everyone expects gold, so anything less feels like a total collapse. Every slip is a crisis, and for Jutta, the spotlight does not turn off when she leaves the rink. She has millions of followers, massive brand deals and cameras in her face 24/7. Plus, dating Jake Paul brings in an army of critics who would not know a skate blade from a butter knife. Suddenly it stops being about speed and becomes about her character, her focus, and her dedication. That noise was deafening heading into the Olympics, so when she fell, the haters did not just see an accident. They saw proof of every lazy rumor that has been following her around. That is what made the moment dangerous, not the points, but the narrative that threatened to take over. But here is the kicker, Jutta did not waste a second trying to clap back at the critics. She knew exactly whose opinion mattered, so instead of chasing public redemption, she went dark and got back to work. Instead of letting fear blow up her strategy, she tightened the screws. One track, one distance, one mission, the 1,000 meters. That is her kill zone. It is the ice where she knows exactly who she is, where the grind silences the noise. She spent years skating like she was hauling the entire country's anxiety on her back. But this season, the vibe changed. The crash didn't trigger a panic attack. It triggered a wake-up call. Live under the microscope long enough, and you learn a hard lesson. Trying to keep everyone happy is the quickest way to crash your own career. And Leerdam isn't in the business of letting go of the wheel. So while the pundits were analyzing the wipeout, she was already looking at the finish line. She wasn't fixing a mistake. She was defending the blueprint, a quiet, ruthless, tunnel-visioned plan that should terrify every other skater on the roster. The moment an athlete stops scrambling and starts hunting, that is when they become a problem. The real shift happened way before she even hit the ice. You don't win Olympic gold on adrenaline alone. You win it in empty rooms weeks out deciding exactly which battles to fight. Leerdam had already made her pick. Long before trials, the camp went all in on a single bet, the 1,000 meters. Not because she lacks range, but because that is where she is undeniable, where her power and timing hit a frequency nobody else can match. That decision flipped the script. When disaster strikes at trials, most skaters freak out. They scramble. They sign up for every race desperate to prove they still have it. They expand out of fear, hoping volume saves them. Leerdam went the other way. She boxed it in. Instead of a season-ending spiral, she treated the slip like a data point, a glitch to be noted and deleted. No desperate chase, no overcorrection, no apology tour. That level of ice-cold composure shocked the insiders. But the rulebook doesn't ask for drama. It asks for clarity. The system favors the skater who knows the mission and refuses to blink. Leerdam bet on the system, but mostly she bet on herself. This wasn't a comeback, it was a fortress. She drew a circle around her signature race and refused to let the chaos breach the walls. That is a veteran power move most athletes don't figure out until retirement. It completely rewrites the narrative. The fall wasn't the end of the world, it was a non-event. If you are lining up against her, that is terrifying. It means she is done skating on emotion. Now she is operating like a surgeon. There is a lethal calm in knowing you are the best at what you do. Gold medals don't go to the frantic. They go to the precise, the disciplined, and discipline is brutal. Especially with lenses zoomed in social media, tearing apart every frame and armchair experts questioning your heart. Leerdam didn't clap back. She didn't have to. She let the silence hang, then delivered. The crash gave the world a headline. She refused to read it. That is the moment the story shifted from athlete under pressure to champion in command. When you ignore the noise everyone else is obsessing over, it is because your eyes are locked on a target miles down the road. Something specific, something calculated, something that doesn't need a press conference, just execution. And that is what makes this final chapter so dangerous. When Leerdam takes the line in Italy, she isn't looking for redemption. She is executing a hit. Competitors like that don't need momentum. They create it. But here is the detail everyone glossed over. She didn't just slip into the games through the back door. She punched her ticket in a completely different race, using it as leverage to secure the one she actually wants. After wiping out on the 1,000, she didn't sulk. She laced up for the 500 sprint and carved her way onto the roster. That win locked down one of the 9 precious slots available to the Dutch squad. Then things got interesting. The Dutch Federation looked at the board, saw the opening, and made a call you almost never see in a system that cutthroat. She punched her ticket to the 1,000-meter Olympic showdown, and she managed to do it without knocking a single teammate off the roster. Don't call that charity. Call it cold, hard strategy. This is the play of a skater who owns her destiny, moving in silence, executing with precision, and blocking out the emotional static that drowns everyone else. The ink is dry. UT is locked in for both her signature 1,000 and the 500-meter sprints in Italy this February. When the world tunes in, most will just see a name on the start list. They might flash back to that brutal spill at trials, but by race day, the drama will be ancient history. Here is the only thing that counts when the cameras cut away. She refused to let one slip-up write the ending to her Olympic saga. She didn't panic and chase every event on the board. She didn't play defense. She played chess. She surveyed the ice, picked the lane that kept her dream alive, and skated it without a flinch. That isn't desperation. That is laser-focused intent. And that is why this Olympic run hits different. This season isn't a redemption arc, it is a legacy builder. Jutta Leerdam is hunting gold, and she is launching that attack from a foundation of pure power, not fear. Not from the memory of the crash, and definitely not from the critics' chatter, but from the quiet, icy certainty that she has the skills and the blueprint to take it all. In the cutthroat arena of elite sports, that mindset outweighs a dozen flawless races. When she toes the line in Milano Cortina, she isn't fighting for approval. She is there to dominate on her own terms in the distances where she reigns supreme. And you can bet the house that her decision will echo louder than the stumble the whole world watched.